Hello wonderful people, my name is Pratof Eli and I'm the manager of this beautiful beach resort you see. As we celebrate our 30th anniversary today, it is very important for us to reflect on our journey that brought us here. Behind this beautiful resort is a woman who shows so much resilience and have love for humanity. Join me, let's have a chat with her and see how she brought this business into life.
Hello, my name is Wendy and I live here on this beautiful beach in Kokrobite. I have lived here for 30 years and most people in this village and around know me as Mama Wendy. It was here I decided to build my beach resort 30 years ago. And therefore I have yet another name, Big Millie, as I am the owner of Big Millie's Backyard. Big Millie's, moi, smiley face. So let's go inside and have a look what we've created in the last 30 years. I moved here 30 years ago, mainly because I hate the British weather. I hate the cold, the rain, the snow. And for me, to wake up every morning in the Ghana sunshine is heaven.
Great, that's great. So please tell us how you got inspired to move to Ghana and establish a business like Big Millie's.
Well, I've always been involved in catering, restaurants and bars, and music in London.
Okay.
So it was just really just transferring everything to here.
Yeah.
But the reason I came was because I met someone in a pub and he said Ghana was great, and I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And here I am, still here.
Interesting. It was your first time moving to a country you have never been before. So how was your experience moving from the UK to Ghana?
I'd actually come here before for a very short holiday and I just loved it. I loved the people. I just loved everything about Ghana that was so easygoing and laid back. And for me, it was a very easy move.
Interesting. So how did the people accept you on your first time when you came? Because I mean, it's a very new environment to you, so definitely you might have some instincts in you that the people might not accept you. So
well, let's say at the beginning it wasn't easy because after all, I'm a foreigner. I'm coming to live in an African village. I'm building something that will hopefully help the whole village. But I wasn't accepted easily. I was the Abruni, and I still am the Abruni. But the days when I was chased down the beach with cutlass-wielding boys are long gone because those people are older now and their children are much wiser and much more accepting of the new ways. So now life is so much easier.
that's great to hear. So starting the business, how did you start? How did you get to move on with business? Because this place I see now is very lovely. So I want to know, or my viewers would want to know, how you started the whole thing.
Well, it was very interesting actually because we just had one room and we had an old-fashioned toilet.
Wow.
Which unfortunately got squashed in a storm by a coconut tree, and happily nobody was sitting inside. But anyway, yes, I seemed to spend all my life weeding, pulling up neem tree roots, because all we had was a big pear patch of grass, no, dirt really, and about 30 coconut trees. So that was what we started with, and now if you look around, it's beautiful.
Very good. How did people get to know you when you started the business?
Well, right at the beginning, there was a group of people called the VSO. They were British people, British volunteers.
Yeah.
And I remember the day the first ones arrived and walked down the garden, and I thought, "Ooh, suddenly we are having guests." Right?
Yeah.
And happily, they spread the word, and we had lots of British volunteers who then told the American Peace Corps, and then we got into the guidebooks. It took a while. It wasn't instantaneous because there was not that much publicity about Ghana as a resort in those days.
Yeah. Wonderful. What are some of the challenges you faced, in this business?
Okay, well, for the first 6 years here, we had no electricity. When I bought the land, they said, "Oh, it's coming in 6 months," and so on and so on and so forth. So it was actually 6 years before electricity came.
Interesting.
There was no mobile phone, there's no telephone lines to the village.
Yeah.
So the mobile phone, you had to contact people by standing on a tall stool at the top of the stairs. It wasn't easy at the beginning, but happily, word of mouth is a very good advert, so people came.
Interesting. Can you tell us how Big Millie's Backyard has impacted the community, Kokrobite in general? Because where I come from, we believe in giving back to the community. So how has Big Millie's impacted into the community that it finds itself?
Originally, I was the only beach resort. Now we are surrounded by restaurants and bars and hotels. So that has increased hugely since I started here. But also I think we've helped the community. We've sent children to school, we've helped old people with their health issues. We helped to build the police station, which has been advantageous, that threat that if you are a bad guy, you can get into trouble. So, yes, I think there's been a lot of improvement, a lot of improvement in Kokrobite since I first came.
Interesting. Before you came to Ghana, were you having any experience in hoteling, or did you have any prior experience in this business? Because you seem to have developed this place with so much ease.
Yes, I did. I started out life after university as a sports teacher.
Okay.
But then my sister and I, we decided to buy a restaurant. And then it just went from there. I worked in restaurants, I worked in hotels for several years actually. So then I came here and tried to build something that people would like.
Wow. Your story happens to be a very inspiring one. So I would want you to tell your viewers now that if there's anyone amongst them that wants to venture into this business, how do they go about it, and then how do they start?
Well, I was quite fortunate that when I started, there really was very little competition. So all the travellers, and we were basically for backpackers in the early days, all the travellers would come here and spread the word. There was somewhere where you could get something sort of halfway between Ghana and the UK, because a lot of these backpackers and these volunteers were existing on Ghana food and Ghana accommodation. So we tried to just do something a little bit more European and a little bit comfortable.
Okay, so I see that there are a lot of expatriates that patronize you. They keep on coming, and we don't usually see you running adverts, or we don't see any commercials of you like on the TVs or on the socials. So how are you able to manage your customers?
Right at the beginning, it was just word of mouth, and that actually is really one of the best adverts you can go with, is word of mouth. We also got very good reviews in the guidebooks. We had foreign newspapers writing a lot about us and saying how we were the only budget boutique hotel in Ghana, which we still are. The tourist board have said that, but they don't have a category for budget boutiques, but that's us.
Which means that you actually started this category when it comes to Oh,
Yes.
that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So because we are a budget, our prices are low.
Yeah.
Yet we have this beautiful garden. We have a swimming pool.
Yeah.
We have the beach at the end of the garden. Great food, great drinks. What more could you ask for?
That brings me to this question. I've heard people talk about your food. I've heard and I've read in some guidebooks that your food is so lovely. Where did you get your recipe, and how are you able to manage your kitchen to get one beautiful delicacy that keeps bringing people to your resort?
Well, I think we've been lucky in that we now have some very good chefs.
Yeah.
Yes, our head chef Fidel has been with us for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And we always cook fresh food.
Oh,
we always
okay.
have cold drinks. What I tried to introduce was something that, although I love Ghanaian food, I love fufu, I still would like sometimes to have my fish and chips, things like that. My egg on toast and things, British food slightly. So I introduced a menu which had both Ghana food and local food, because I also love the local food, but it took a while to enjoy the fufu. It's an acquired taste.
That's very lovely. So we move on to your customers. I mean, you've had customers from as long as 20 years ago. They came here. That's their very first time, like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and these people are still coming back to your resort. So how are you able to keep in touch with these people, or how are you able to manage their reviews so you can know what they want and they keep on coming?
Well, it's funny you should mention 20 years ago, because only today we had a lady here who was here 20 years ago. And it's amazing how people come up to me and say, oh, I met my husband here, or I met my wife here.
Really?
I've even had people come to me and say, this is my son. He was conceived in your garden. And I think, wow. I'm living a very important life.
That's very lovely.
Yes.
That's good to hear.
But people do keep coming back, which is wonderful. That's what I love.
That's nice.
And happily they're surprised, because always there's something different to look at, something new, some little change.
Interesting. There are people here today, I mean, to witness you celebrate 30 years of business. So what do you have to tell your customers who keep on coming like every time to patronize you because you have a lovely resort in this country? So what do you have to tell your customers?
Well, keep coming, because every time you come, you'll get a surprise. We've done something else. We've changed something here. We've tweaked something there. And you won't ever be bored if you come back.
Good to know. One thing that has been affecting a lot of companies or firms or organizations in Ghana is staff management. So I see you have a staff which started working in Big Mills as far as 10 years ago. How are you able to manage your staff that you don't lose staff so often, that your staffs are so very well behaved and makes the place so lovely?
I think you have to lead by showing that you can also do the same as they can.
Yeah.
But I've had staff who've left here after 20 years. Not because they are unhappy, but because after 20 years I think you do need a change in life. I certainly did. So yes, many of our staff stay a long time.
That's very great. We are in the festive period, so are you expecting so many people to visit you? Since it's a 30-year celebration, are you expecting people to come all the way from overseas, from all the way from Europe, I mean? And also, are you expecting people from the local communities who also visit your resort?
Yes. I really hope so. I know we mentioned earlier about people coming back after 20 years, but it's lovely when people come back and say, wow, you're still here? And I say, yeah, I'm still alive. Can you believe it? Peace and love.
Yeah.
The end.
Very interesting. How do you want to see Big Mills now in the next 5 years?
5 years. 5 years is quite a short time.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
We changed a lot. We were so simple, so basic.
Yeah.
Now, as we've said, we've got rooms with AC and hot
Swimming pool
water
as
and
well.
TV, but now the people have changed. You see,
Yeah.
before they were backpackers and volunteers.
Yeah.
Now they are flash packers. Now they come, a lot of them without their backpack, but with a little luggage with wheels.
Yeah.
They want air conditioning. So many of them want air conditioning now. They're wimps, not like we were
Yeah.
when I started 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they've completely changed, and of course we've had to change with them. The fact that I've survived 30 years in Ghana at least shows something. I really love the country. I love the country. I love the people. I would hate to live back in the UK. I don't know why all these people want to escape to cold, wet, disappointing, ugly UK, where you could stay in this beautiful, beautiful country for the rest of your life. I'm extremely happy here, and I have no plans to ever go anywhere else.
So what do you have to tell our people, let's say black people or white people who are living overseas and they haven't been to Africa or Ghana?
You see, if you come to a third world country from a first world country, you have to be adaptable. You know, you have to go with the flow. You can't change things and say, oh, but in the UK this, in the UK that. You have to have a lot of patience. And what's more, you have to have a sense of humor, because if you can't laugh at all the crazy things that happen, then you'll never survive.
Yeah. There's one thing also about Big Mills that keeps making people to visit the place on weekends. That's your Friday cultural show, because you do drumming and dancing on Fridays, and then you play reggae on Saturdays. That's a reggae night. And then also on Sunday you go ahead and do the traditional Ghanaian music, which is the high life. How did you start with this music, and what has kept the people to keep coming to enjoy this music like all this while?
Okay, right. Now, this goes back a long way, because when I lived in London, I was a manager of several pubs which were boring and falling apart, and it was my job to turn them into exciting, successful venues, which I always did with music.
Yeah.
So coming from London doing that to Ghana, I automatically wanted to do the same thing. So we started with music here right from the beginning, but it was very simple and very basic. And in those days, so were the backpackers. Now the music is much more sophisticated, much better.
Wow.
And the flashbackers love that, because it really is party time at weekends. If you want a peaceful time at Big Millie's, come Monday to Thursday. But if you want action, then you definitely should come at the weekend.
What will be your final words to tell your customers, your viewers, and everybody around the world that you are 30 years? What's the final words for them?
My final word, after 30 years, I'm still here, and I'm still going strong, so don't pension me off yet. Keep coming, I'll still be here.
It was nice having you on this platform, and we appreciate your work. I mean, you as a foreigner moving to Ghana to establish a business like this, for somebody like me to also get employed and be a manager of this beautiful resort. So thank you, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Ellie. I've really enjoyed our chat. It's a date.
Yes.
Bye.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We are really grateful to have Wendy, the CEO of Big Millie's Backyard, on the show. Until then, stay with us and enjoy.